Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Savage Grind Podcast. Got a really cool episode here. I got my man, Jose, the content genius, who's been helping us past 2 years deliver a bunch of video, ads, pictures, just kind of bringing that brand awareness and making it very cohesive for us here at Savage Roofing and Savage Grind. So I wanted to bring him on, introduce him, and let's talk about why, it's important to do content, right? And we'll just do a different approach, different angle. Definitely. We're going to do this podcast. We're going to do it off the cuff, out the norm. And I think this is great because content is real important nowadays. Don't you believe so?
Content is king, brother.
Yeah, so it's like your digital currency. What I would like to think of it is stuff that you can absorb and collect through time. Your data in recording videos on your phone or having a professional person do it with you. That's like digital assets. You can get as much as you want, and you can even like save it, and it like kind of compound over time. Some content may not be relevant or prevalent at the time, but if you go back and go through your archives and regurgitate some of that content, Definitely. It might be relevant and a new time, a new era, a new day, and you can like reuse it. And it like content is just what it is. So what's your take on all of it?
Well, first off, thank you for having me, man. It's
hashtag
it's been a long
Jose
time coming,
content.
right?
Yeah. So this has been the man behind the camera this whole time.
Yes, sir. So 2 years in the making, and just following not only your company but your brand, and being able to create content that's relevant has been key.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have grown. We have been able to change directions and how we capture your brand and your business, and how we elevate each brand and each aspect of it, right? So there's the sales aspect, there's the build aspect, there's the personal aspect. So over the past 2 years, we've been able to do that. So
yeah, and it was really cool. It's exactly what you're saying, right? There's multifacets to what we do, right? Like you said, there's the salesperson point of perspective, there's the back end office operations productions, and there's the brand and behind the curtains part of it. Like, how did we become and where did we come from? The story brand behind it, and all of it's important. But why do you think more than ever right now that companies or people should be thinking about, their brands and doing more content?
Well, most important is we're at a point where we're almost past this process of what we call pandemic, right? And at the start of it, when we first connected, it was a time in which people were at their house. Mm-hmm. Homeowners were at home, and social media and the phones became more relevant at the time. And when we thought that we have reached the peak of how people use their phones, mm-hmm. that got elevated 10, 20, 30 times more, because now everybody's sitting at home searching for the next thing they want to buy, searching for the next thing they want to do. And when we connected, me and my partner Johnny were starting the business. So mm-hmm. at that point, the content became what we like to call the blue collar content. That's mm-hmm. how we connected, right?
Yeah.
We have been in an industry of marketing and branding through other companies, but once we were able to tap to the blue collar, which you were one of our first clients to do that, we saw how important the content was and how it was being absorbed.
Yeah, and I think there's not very many, like how you say it, blue collar or construction people doing content or doing it well, or not taking the time to do it, right? I mean, there's great companies out there that do really good production and do really good builds, and they have good brands, but they're kind of not taking the chance and like putting a personal brand or a name behind their business. And why do you think that's important for them to do that?
I think one of the things that you've done well is consistency. And when we see other companies that build that first video, right, the brand video, they show who they are and what they stand for, but they don't follow through with additional content and consistent content, that fades out, they die.
Right.
So we see them come out and they fade away right away. But one of the things that we have always talked about is the consistency, right? You're always on top of it. It's like, hey, I need my content. We need to film. We need to produce. And that has allowed us as an agency to see the need, but also the application of it, right? Because as you started or stated earlier, was sometimes we have film projects that are not relevant at the time, but the content was there. So we film it, we store it, and you're like, hey, a few months down the line, like, hey, can we drop this content?
And that's the whole thing, right? Like there's a market for everybody out there, right? Well, no matter what you're doing, people are and consumers are buying products, right? And I think right now it's more important more than ever because so many people are changing their trends of how they buy products, right? And we could probably thank Amazon for that for the most part.
Definitely.
Right? Most people are on their phone. They want to scroll, they want to pick, they want to, see the reviews of how many people have bought it and read about it. So like I'm trying to for somewhat emulate that process that they do, right? Like we want company reviews, right? We want people to come into our social medias and scroll through and get an idea of this is a product or a service that I want to use for my house, right? Because in our space, which is roofing, the roofing and solar market is so saturated. Right. So this is some way that I can use to kind of differentiate myself from the competitors. And it can be done throughout any blue collar industry, right? Concrete, dry. And I've never seen a drywall video, maybe one. Right.
No.
It's such a space that's untapped still.
Untapped. Right now, the most I've seen for drywall and painting is TikTok, right?
Yeah.
TikTok has taken over that space. And while people take advantage of those platforms, what they're pumping out is those funny, engaged videos, but not now forgetting about the brand and what the message of the brand is, right? So I think, as we stated before, is you have found that balance.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? I'm not, and I don't consider myself to be like an expert in social media or anything by any means, but I do understand certain aspects of human personality, human trait, and like the psyche. Like you gotta develop the professionalism part of your business, right? So having the clean, edited, nice, sharp videos to the point, the call to action, right? That's very, very important to have that, but also the engagement part as well, right? So the funny stuff, the random stuff. And what I love about the trend going now is with TikTok, it's something that someone that can take the power back as a business owner or salesperson or anybody within an organization that needs to generate revenue, right? You could have the power in the palm of your hand and create content on a press and play method, right? Which is all plays its part, right? If you can get viewers to engage and like see your content and like it and share it, like they might not need you at that minute, but it might be a conversational piece down the line, right? So, but you want them to bring them to where someone like you would be important, where there's the website that's structured really nice and clean. There's the brand videos that are sharp and clean. Like all of that has a time and place, but like to bring them into what I like what's happening now is the TikTok and like the Snapchats and stuff like that. There's a great opportunity on Facebook and Instagram for sure for good clean cut videos and pictures and yeah, man.
Just like today, right? We just dropped the culture video, which we traveled to Dallas to film this past week, right? And when we came back with the footage, and we started going through it, seeing the team building, seeing the competition, the friendly competition amongst each other and how you guys engage, that had its place. And that's why we discussed it. That's why we planned it. That's why we traveled with you and made it happen. Come back now we have this video that showcase what Savage Roofing and Solar is all about, right?
Yeah, and it's another video that's geared to another audience, right? It's not gonna be everybody's flavor of video they're gonna watch at, but if I'm a sales representative and I'm looking for a new career path, like, is that gonna be appealing to me? Absolutely. I wanna go, like, a great example today, like Jamie. His wife is expecting a baby soon. We don't know, in any day now, right? And we threw a baby shower for him. So like it's
That's
a role reverse baby shower, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at nowadays. But
Yeah.
I thought it was super cool. It was an opportunity for us to capture, that family aspect and culture in our business that's real life. And we recorded it. We did a live. We did some content just within us there. But that all plays a part as far as video content. Like it's something that we could put on social media, that we're giving the window to the world of seeing what it's like to be within our organization.
Definitely.
Which is super important, right? Because we want good people. You have good, happy people.
Good
right?
energy, man.
Good energy,
there, yeah.
right? Those are the type of individuals that we're sending out into the public to knock on doors, have conversations, sit at the kitchen table. They're going to bring that positive, upbeat energy to the home, right? And that's what you want. You want to just. It's very difficult to force people to be good and well. Like if you just start off with good people, right, and attracting the good people by showing them that culture. That to me, that's been like
and awesome. I think to your point is we've been able to capture that, right? So it's the culture, the environment, but then also a homeowner, right, gets to see the video content once this sales representative leaves their home. They go to your Facebook page, they go to your website, they go to your Instagram, and they're like, oh wow, they're more than just sales reps. They do good work. Oh, I can see the good work because the videos are there, the photos are there, but then wow, they travel, and people, I don't know if you've done this, but sometimes we go down this rabbit hole and we like see a picture and they're like, man, let me scroll to the bottom of that and kind of see how they came about and how they built it. And if we scroll a year back to any of your social platforms, we can see that the content not only is there, but it has improved and it has become content that is valuable to your brand, to your business. And, we thank you for that opportunity. Definitely.
Oh, absolutely. We're just, and like every time we think we are at a certain plateau or a certain place in our business, like I realized like, dude, man, we're just getting started, bro. This is just the beginning. This is, like we got a lot to do and a lot to build still, but the most important part is that we're here and we're capturing it, and we want to give it insight and show how important it is for other people to kind of emulate it and like help because there's a lot of new business owners out there now that are trying to make their mark and go out there and do stuff on their own. And I think this is really good information and content, and like for them to get some real life practice and scenarios, like how they can do it for themselves. So like, let's just draw a picture for some young entrepreneur, right? They're just starting out, right? What is some like basic tips, right? Do they need to buy a light, right? Do they need to have a background? Do they need to have this beautiful mic? Like what is for someone that's like, hey man, I'm just starting out in business.
Starting out.
I'm either in my truck or I'm in my barber's chair, and I don't really know how to get started on social media. I don't like being in front of a camera. That's a very good excuse you hear a lot. So what's some advice you can
hear it all the time. And honestly, if you're starting your business and there's a couple needs that you're going to have, right? Which is how accessible you are, what kind of content you're creating, and how do you create it? And while most people don't have the means starting, as you said, right off the bat, a cell phone, right? If you're going to do anything, get a good cell phone. A lot of times we got people that are iPhone 8, iPhone 7, 3, 2, 1, right? Yeah. But technology in these items are so important. And not only are you going to have a good phone that you can communicate with your clients, you can have your calendars, you can have all your social media platforms in a good phone, but then the cameras and the footage that comes out of here is good.
Right.
And it works within those platforms that we are mentioning, right? The Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram. So if you're gonna do any investment starting off, get yourself a cell phone. And it's a good write-off, right?
Yeah.
So it's a business write-off. You can start from there. You don't have to do color editing or anything.
Yeah.
You just get good footage right off the bat. So
now I got a good phone. So I took your advice. I went out and I upgraded from my iPhone 2 to a decade of iPhones.
Yeah.
So iPhone at least 12, 13.
right.
So now what do I got to do?
Get familiar with the platforms. There's a lot of people out there that have created tutorial videos on YouTube. You can dive into YouTube and you can dive into platforms that can give you direction on what's important and what's relevant out there. And now you're like, okay, so I'm a barber. What kind of barber video should I do? What kind of music should I use? There are videos that are out there that will help you through that process. Now, at one point or another, you're going to hit the wall. You're going to hit that creative wall where you're like, man, this is too much. I'm running a business. I'm creating content. And guess what? That's when we come in.
Yeah.
Right? We're there to help you, not only define your brand, but elevate your brand and your content and what you do. And we've been blessed to be able to do that for not only your company, but other companies here in the Plainfield area that at one point or other were just using a cell phone. And now they're like, okay, we want sharp images, we want sharp videos, but not only that, your ideas. So we went from just a content creative agency to a full branding agency that allows consulting and help develop other brands and get them over that hump. Because when it comes to branding, that's where a lot of people fail.
Yeah.
And they have all this content like, oh, why don't I have the sales? Why don't I have the following? It's like, well, let's look at your brand. Let's dissect it. And we were fortunate enough to come into Savage Roofing with a brand that was well thought out, that was personal to you, that you had put your stamp on it, the colors, the grid, everything to it. It was there. So not every client that comes through our doors is like, oh, you got to start from scratch.
Yeah. And I think the best advice I can give to anybody that's starting a brand, starting your company, trying to create videos for yourself, like, you're an expert in something, right? If you obviously went into business, you kind of went down that path, like you were probably the best salesperson. You were probably the best barber. You were probably the best cake maker or shoe builder or whatever, right? That's why you felt the need to go open your own business, definitely. Right? So like definitely you have some insights, some knowledge, some tips, some shortcuts, some value to give to the public. Like start with that, which you know that you're an expert in and you could speak with some sort of education and expertise on. Yes. And if you can't like do the work yourself, like, man, have your little brother, your sister, your cousin, your wife hold the phone for like 3 minutes while I do this quick video on how to taper a fade out or however. Like I don't know.
Do a cake or something.
Like, or for me, for roofing, like how to lay out the starter course before we level out our shingles and how to do a valley cut or how to put drip edge on properly, right? So like doing those specific niche items, you'll create your own subculture around you, which is important for escalating your brand, because now you have a group of people that are going to follow you that are in that space. Definitely. And that's how you got to start, right? And then through that you can grow it wider, because then you have homeowners that will come in and watch, or people like, man, I think barbers is like a phenomenal business, because barbers, landscapers, thing that has residual stuff that happens every time, right?
And it's the beauty of it, how it's captured. Sometimes I sit there, I'm not a barber, but I have cut my kids' hair, a couple times, and my wife hates it. But it's like I've watched videos of guys like, just do a half, do a little bit more, do a little bit more. I'm like, man, this is easy, right? Yeah. But just watching the process, and you get sucked into this process of whatever it is. Like, I've watched 2 years of roofing. I can probably get up there and lay some shingles myself, but it's actually fun to watch content. And when you create content that's pleasing to the eye, and you can sit there and like, man, the music, the colors, the transitions, and everything that goes into it. But now, like you said, the expertise, like now you're watching an expert do its job.
And that's the cool fun part, right? And that should come with ease, because that's something you've done over time and learned and perfected. So you should be able to speak on that stuff. But if you a really cool brand you can go watch, this is my man Victor. He owns the barbershop right next to our office at Savage Roofing in Joliet. So go look up my man. His brand is Shall Prosper. I'm repping him today. So shout out to my man Victor.
Haircut too. Haircut was done by him yesterday. So
so he's one that I think is doing a really good a very good of elevating and raising his brand up. And he's a younger entrepreneur, and I have mad respect for him because he started maybe a little over a year ago, and he's been able to really capture people in his space. And he's now got the shop that looks really high end. He's done a wonderful job remodeling his shop, and then he's offering also apparel, right? So he's doing the branding and apparel, and so he's taking the next level. He's got his car wrap now, looks really dope and pimped out. So he's taking his brand serious, and that's kind of like what you got to do, right? Once you get to a certain point, you got to start dropping some money into your brand, and you got to take it serious, because if you don't take it serious, nobody else is going to take it serious, right? So any last tips before we close this out?
Stay savage, brother.
So if you like the content, please go like and follow and share. You can find me on Facebook, Daniel Joseph Savage Grind, Instagram, savage.grind. You can find me on TikTok, Savage Grind _. We're doing this every week. We're dropping content as much as we can, 2 times a week if possible. So if you like it, go subscribe, do more. And remember, I'm doing a special giveaway for my TikTok people. If you're on TikTok, you're listening, I'm giving away my book, From Average to Savage, and a planner, Savage Grind Planner. Keep track of your goals, solidify your goals, go make it happen. So go do it. And like I always say, people, don't be average, go be savage today. Deuces.